Education is one of the fundamental rights of every child as enshrined in Section 18 of the Nigerian Constitution and Section 15 of the Child Rights Act 2003. The provisions enjoin the government to direct its policy towards ensuring that there are equal and adequate educational opportunities at all levels. However, access to quality education in public schools leaves a lot to be desired, leading to high enrollment of children into private-owned schools in Nigeria. Consequently, Nigeria has over the years experienced the proliferation of private schools almost unregulated, leaving public schools unattractive and abandoned. But these private schools are now going out of the reach of middle and low-income earners with the rising inflation in the country. Can the average Nigerian access quality education in the near future? Should government subsidize education? This will be the focus of our program today. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you so much for joining. Now, the past week marked the beginning of a new academic session for many schools around the country. The school's resumption was accompanied by reactions from parents to the rising cost of school fees, with some accusing school owners of exploitation. Although this is not new to Nigeria, not much has been done by the relevant authorities to check the reckless increase of school fees almost at the beginning of every academic session.
Adamawa State Government through the Ministry of Education has set Monday, September 19 as the commencement of academic activities for the first time of the 2022-2023 session. The date, which is expected to be a thing of joy as the new academic calendar begins, however, did not have that effect as many parents are faced with challenge of handling the daily needs of their children while in school, as well as the increase in school fees due to the present economic realities. They said it will not be a bad idea if school administrators consider the present economic challenges and allow parents to pay school fees in installments.
Even to provide necessary things to the children, we are finding it difficult, talk less of school fees. So we are going to find it hard, but it is a necessity for us. We have to look other means to source for the income to pay the school fees.
You talk about school fees resistance. It is a very difficult situation as long as we, the parents, are in charge of our duties of our children. I think things are very difficult. The economy was too bad. Citizens are frustrated in the country.
Adamu Jingi, a school proprietor, says the idea was not about one, but schools must times run at a loss. Explained that in many occasions, students change schools to avoid paying the fees on their former schools.
Yara in ka dogara akan duk wanda bai biya baka kori ɗansa a makaranta. A yanzu haka wani makaranta wasu kira su yara bakwai, wani wuri su 15.
Yes, of course, high fees are the reason. You find some parents changing schools for their children almost every year. But I can assure you it wasn't intentional. The situation is beyond our control. Sometimes that room granted parents to pay school fees of their children instrumentally is violated, leading to schools running at a loss. So we're left with no option rather than blocking it. Teachers who are at the receiving end said they are not finding it easy to catch up with their family needs.
We equally experience such hardship from parents, from school management, from the staff, and everybody. Counting from payment of school fees. We have started the new session, a new term. The student needs new uniform, new writing and reading materials. Everything is above our shoulder. We parents and everybody.
You can see a situation whereby students are paying school fees. At times they pay halfway. Sometimes you can find out that they will not pay at all. You have to allow them. Some of them, when there will be time that will come, they tell you they will go, they will change school, or they will go somewhere, or you just stop seeing them, just because of the situation. So we are not in a good situation as far as economy of the school and ourselves is concerned.
Stakeholders say a reduction of school fees will go a long way to ease the burden on parents, especially those who have more than 2 children enrolled in the schools.
September always ushers in a new academic session. With it come new financial challenges as pupils who move to upper classes need new set of books and other accessories. With the present increase in prices of goods and services, the education sector is not spared, as parents confirmed.
But in Benue State, as I'm talking now, it's merely a civil servant state, and workers have not been paid.
It's just finance. We want to register these children for the educational distance, but the finance is the major problem.
There are things to buy for them. The new students, you buy uniform, shoes, that is their sandals and the textbooks and the materials. And where is the resources?
You have to wake up in the morning to prepare the breakfast and the lunch, and you have to drop the kids in school before you go to your own work. So, but as a parent, what do? We must do.
For teachers and school administrators, they expect delayed resumption as well as inconsistent fee payment due to the hard economic realities in the state.
It has not been easy, and some of them still have the belief that school, when they resume, things don't start on time, which is not correct, and for that they have not really been able to allow their words to come, and some of them are not prepared, even though they have still long at home, at least for a whole month, yet they are still not prepared financially to send their children to school. So it has been seriously challenging on their part.
Hard times have actually affected the resumption of students in school, because this is first term. The children have enjoyed a long holiday and would be willing to come back, but because of the economic crunch.
For students, they are happy to return to school after the long holiday.
School is everything. Like, I'm tired of staying at home. I want to come to school and learn because there are lots of things to learn in a new class like this. There are lots of things to learn. So the happiness of being in a new class altogether makes me want to be in school.
I'm happy to resume because the learning can continue, and I'm happy with the development of the school and the teachings the school have been providing for us.
With most households depending on private schools for education due to lack of investment in public schools by the government, the education of young Nigerians is now more challenging, as private operators who are striving to stay in business continue to increase fees. This is in addition to the insecurity in some places that has worsened the situation, with a disturbing number of kids leaving school due to terrorist attacks.
It's the first day of school, and pupils are excited to be back for the new academic session after the long holiday. Prior to the long holiday, schools were abruptly shut down in the Federal Capital Territory due to security concerns. As a prelude to that, parents who are still entertaining fear, however, called on the authorities to ensure the safety of their wards, as well as the impartation of quality education.
There's nothing different between when they close the school and what is happening now. Is the FCC safe now? It's not safe, but we cannot keep our children there in the house for longer. Like now, the ASU is on strike. It's affecting the family, it's affecting the parents, it's affecting everybody. It's even affecting the children. So if we should keep the children, the secondary school children and primary school at home now, when are they going to go back to school?
The children find it difficult the last time to take their exams and all the rest. The exam that need to carry on for 1 week, they wrote it within 2 days interval. We are still praying, looking forward for our government to improve for the security for the children.
Acknowledging the harsh economic realities, these parents say they struggle to pay tuition fees and other learning materials, and appealed for a flexible payment plan that would be comfortable for both parties.
Every payment is from the parents. When we, as I am now, I went for verification and I was given the list for new intake. It's not easy for me as a parent. It's not easy at all because as I am now, I have like 4 kids. It's not easy for me. To me, I would say the federal government should help the parents. At least they should not increase the payment from the school. Let the payment, let it be stable or a little bit lesser.
We do the one we can do. Privates are better, but it's more expensive that most parents cannot afford. So, but some parents doesn't mind to give their children the best. They can wear anything to make sure that their children go to private school. They are pushing government aside.
The debate about the preservation of the quality of education in public schools continues to give rise to the enrollment of more pupils in private schools, with parents bearing the brunt of that choice vis-à-vis the cost of private education.
With me in the studio to talk about this is Abdullahi Haruna, a public affairs commentator. Thank you so much for joining me on the Deadline today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had a lot of stories from parents in the last week. Some have had to take drastic decisions as regards this. How did we even get here?
Yes, thank you for this very wonderful moment. How did we get there? It's actually a question that sounds rhetorical because we've been where we are. Nothing really has changed. It's been a regurgitation of realities. It's the same complaints that have been happening day in and day out. So it's taking a long journey of ruination, of destruction because of our deliberate efforts to do wrong instead of doing right. And unfortunately or sadly, here we are greeted with that bitter reality. In your intro, you talked about how exploitation by private school owners had actually taken the front burner as far as education it's concerned, if you permit that word. We are where we are because of our deliberate inactions over the years. Government has failed almost, in planning, what the ideal kind of education, how it should be, leaving it so much for private owners, to take the lead as far as education is concerned. Let me tell you something. Public schools are actually in comatose. If care is not taken, they do not exist, in the right sense of it. You and I, with much pride, were products of public schools. Today, that can't be said anymore because of what? The ruination, the drought in public school. There's a total abandonment of public school. We've created a situation where, Shylock private owners have actually taken the lead in deciding what should be as far as education is concerned.
But, the thing is that there must be a reason for why some of these schools do what they do. I mean, there's a lot of bills to pay, right? If you look at it, you could say, well, it's justifiable. Looking at the rising inflation, they have to pay workers, they have to, maintenance of the school infrastructure and the rest of them.
When we quickly begin to hide under economic indices to define how life should be lived, I think we'll continue to have problems. There's no sector of the society that is not faced by inflation. You understand? There's certainly no sector. So if everybody begins to increase fee in what they do, where do you think we'll be? You are paying and paying. it's affecting you, it's affecting me, and we keep crying that it's inflation, therefore everything should actually shoot up. You know, the fundamental basis of education first is to impart and not to exploit.
But I mean, to be able to impact, there are costs, implications, right? And sometimes, they can be quite expensive.
That's what they call moderation. Nobody is frowning at private school owners making money, but it should be moderated, it should be humane, it should be done using the lens of common sense, of that humane disposition. You can't wake up and begin to charge people so high that you put, these same parents in a situation that becomes very unbearable. A civil servant earns maybe, let's say, 100,000. Maybe at the level of the level 10 civil servant should be earning like 100, and you're asking him to pay 400,000 naira for his child, one child, to start a school, let's say a junior school. Where will he get this money from? He has medicals to settle, he has rent to settle, he has to eat, and other exigencies. So what we're saying is that there's nothing wrong in school owners making money, but it should be moderated. And again, you won't blame them entirely. When you have absence of sincere and regulated authority, this is what will happen. Everybody become the regulator, everybody become the decider. Otherwise, why would private schools be even charging the exorbitant fee that they charge? Let me shock you. That's what they call diction fee, aka phonetics, that private owners charge parents. And that's what they call English language. So why should a parent pay something, pay for diction on how to make, the right pronunciation in their own sense? Maybe they want the children to sound like British or Americans. So your parents have to pay. Somebody is telling you that you have to pay for excursion, you have to pay for laboratory, you have to pay for history. So what then is the essence of the tuition fee? They create unnecessary items to justify the hike. Otherwise, when you said I'm paying 50,000 naira as tuition fee, perhaps I pay 10,000 or 20,000 for uniform. A parent should be able to, that is fair than going as far as charging 200,000, 250. These are even schools outside the city centers. We're talking of satellite areas like Lugbe, Karu, Nyanya. We're not talking of Metama. We're not talking of Wuse 2 and the likes of it. Again, you may argue that environment determines what high cost of realities. Yeah. You understand? But on the average, we're saying that school owners are not helping.
So how can we cut down?
Even though they are providing the panacea to education, but they should do that with that human face.
How can we cut down on some of these costs? Is it by making some of these charges optional? Is it by taking off certain things from the list of things that are required, or what?
Absolutely. Being realistic in planning their curriculum, in planning their school management, is very key. A situation where private school owners have actually abolished the use of textbooks, recurrent textbooks. If my child has used a textbook A for this in primary 1, if he has a younger brother or a sister, trust me that the younger ones are not going to inherit his textbook like it used to be before. I'm sure you inherited books from your father, or from senior siblings.
Perhaps there have been upgrades, isn't it? Or updates on the books.
You update within the period of, let's say, 10 years. It's not a yearly thing. The educational planners don't review.
Do we need to legislate on this?
There are legislations that control these punitive and exploitative tendencies, except that we're not sincere. There's connivance between school owners and the educational planners. Whether you like it or not, you can quote me. This is the reality. They look away so that these people can make money and bring back their returns. Otherwise, the Ministry of Education, from the federal through the state and sub-regional levels, ought to have been on the neck of these people, supervising that this must not happen. You can't begin to exploit parents in the name of operating a private school, and nobody's talking about it. The civil society organizations are not talking about it. The media is not talking about it. You know, stakeholders in the education sector are not talking about it. Some people are there, you know, making money. Education, like you said in your intro, it's a right. It's a fundamental right.
Yes, some of these things are happening because of the high demand for quality education. How can we take the pressure of private schools? I mean, now talking about our own public schools, right?
This is where government needs to wake up. There are resources to ensure that the public schools happens. You know, while we're growing up, we got our education from public schools. We're sitting on bare floors, you know, and we made whatever it is we are today, it's attributable to what we're taught in these public schools. Then in the early 90s or mid-90s, everything changed. The quest for parents to identify with this flamboyant and ostentatious lifestyle of having been identified that, okay, my child is in a private school and not in a government school, actually started this whole problem.
So it's not really about quality education?
It has nothing to do with quality education. Let me tell you, government employ those with fundamental knowledge of education. People from the colleges of education are the one employed to fill government schools, not people from private. You know, the private people hardly employ people from, you know, from colleges of education. So if we're talking of real psychologists of education, real teachers of education, they come from.
So why has the public schools? I mean, why has the public schools remain unattractive?
It tells you of our false consciousness as a people, as Nigerians. You know, we like identifying with that, you know, fake lifestyle that we create a level for ourselves. You know, otherwise, why would somebody want to abandon a public school and takes his child to a school where the teacher is paid 15,000 naira, perhaps the teacher is not even a graduate of a college of education, of a university of education, but somebody who is in their need of job and needed to, you know, make ends meet. So he's forced to teach these students. And teaching is beyond learning how to read and write.
Again, that also goes to another issue that there have been a lot of complaints about, you know, the welfare of teachers in private schools and all that, even despite all the high charges.
Beautiful. You know, parents are not interested in what actually comes from their investment. Let me tell you, while we were in school, there are positions set aside for the best performing student, from 1 to 100, if you like it. But in private schools, every child it's a winner. You know, it tells you that the schools are not really interested in the children. They are interested in the ego of their parents. That is why I'm sure you have your child in a private school. You've never seen him with a poor performance. Are you saying your child is the only star child in that school? Take a stroll around homes of fellow parents. It's the same thing. They all have the same, you know, ratings. If care is not taken, it tells you that these people are really not interested in their education. They're interested in getting money from you. And you, as a parent, a proud parent, my child is in so-so school, so-so private school. You don't give a damn. Your child is making distinction. He's speaking like a white man. So that is okay. But education is beyond speaking phonetics. You know, the psychology, you know, the discipline that comes with it. Children in private schools now are pampered. You dare not touch a child. You dare not reprimand a child. Even though corporal punishment has been abolished. But that is not happening anymore. The assessment that comes is always excellent, because when you give bad assessment, trust me that parent will not return that child back to your school. It means he's not doing well. But in public schools, there's that competition. You get what you deserve.
All right. All right. Well, unfortunately, because of time, we have to end the discussion. Thank you so much for joining us on Dateline. This moment, we appreciate your perspectives on this.
Thank you very much, Ayuba. It's my pleasure.
My guest is Abdullahi Haruna. He is a public affairs commentator, giving us his perspectives on the recent, hike on school fees. With that, we've come to the end of the program. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also watch us live on YouTube. I am Ayuba Ile. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.